Good morning and welcome to Organic Grain Market Spring 2023 webinar. My name is Will Odie and I'm an organic producer and director of the board of Sask Organics, and I will be moderating today's session. I am speaking to you today from our farm, which is just outside Regina on Treaty 4 territory. All righty. Some housekeeping things. I'll read out the bullet points here. Close down any programs you're running in the background. It'll help with the bandwidth and improving audio and visual quality. And all attendees are muted during the Zoom seminar. If you want to ask questions, type them into the chat portion of the program, and we will bring them up appropriately at the time. There's time to answer questions after each presenter. We'll do the best to answer as many as possible within the allotted time. Webinar is scheduled for an hour and a half. It may go slightly over or under, depending on how busy you guys, how eager you are with questions. If you can't make it to the end today, you can always watch the recording at a later time. The attendees will receive an email with a link within a day of the live webinar, and included in this email will be a link to handouts provided by some of the sponsors. So bear with us, as there are sometimes technical glitches, and we'll do our best to run it as smoothly as possible. A big thank you to our gold sponsors, Grain Millers, Sunrise Foods International, Roquette, F.W.Cobs, and MGM Seed and Grain. Thank you to our silver sponsors, Fresh Hemp Foods, Prairie Heritage Seeds, and Mumm's Sprouting Seeds. All righty.
Oops.
We will start with the presenters. First up, are we okay with Carolyn? Is she available?
Can you guys hear me?
We hear you fine, yes.
Oh, good. Sorry about that.
Yeah, I'll just do a bit of introduction before you get started, because you're the first presenter here.
Sure.
Many have attended these meetings before, so you're familiar with the process, but for those who are new to them, we have a company representative speak first, and then there are questions, and then we move to the next one. There's approximately 7 to 8 minutes for each of the presenters and 2 or 3 minutes for questions afterwards. So if you have any questions, put them in the chat and we'll try and share as many of those questions as possible. So now we get started. Thank you very much, Carolyn Crawford from Mumm Sprouting Seeds. Welcome, Carolyn.
Thank you. Good morning. Sorry about the technical difficulties. I was away yesterday and actually working from home today. So anyways, so my name is Carolyn, and I've been with Mumm Sprouting Seeds now for 7 years. I'm currently the purchasing lead for domestic and some international. We've kind of split things up again. Lisa's doing a lot of the international buying. I've also taken on the role as general manager here. So fairly busy place these days, growing every day. We've been in business here now. It'll be 41 years in the fall. They started, I'm sure a lot of people know that they started out on their farm at their kitchen table, packaging seeds for sale with the alfalfa. They've been solely organic for all these years, several generations actually. I think Lisa might be 3rd or 4th generation. Anyways, what we do here is we purchase organic seed from, well, we try in Saskatchewan, Prairie provinces, Canada, US, and then we search outside of our borders internationally. We've got about 128 different types of seed now that we're carrying, and what we do is we package it and redistribute it again all over the world. So we don't do any of the growing here. That is sort of a popular misconception, is that we're actually growing and selling the sprouts. No, we're just selling the seed. The only growing we do is when we're testing it in-house. What else can I tell you about us? Family-run business. We've got 30 plus employees now. When I started 7 years ago, there was 12 or 14. So growing exponentially, and looking forward to further working within the organic sector, and helping with the sustainability of our small farmers. So going to go ahead into what we typically purchase. So we purchase, of course, the Saskatchewan grown or the Prairie Province grown peas, lentils, alfalfa, clover, radish, all those things, chickpeas, fava beans, you name it, we pretty much buy it. Wheat, barley, oats, hulless barley, I guess I should clarify. We buy, I'm sorry, I'm just sort of reading off the email here. As far as specialty and niche crops grow, yeah, absolutely. If there's something that you're growing that, or willing to grow, I guess, we will definitely work with you on that. A few of the things that we can grow here that we've had to source elsewhere internationally for the last while are things like coriander, fenugreek, broccoli rabe, those types of things. We normally spot buy because we have some restraints with our storage. We don't have a lot of room. We do contracts, however, fairly loosely worded, typical act of God, wording in our contracts. A lot of times what we will do, if we can provide the seed for some of these different types of, specialties like Oregon giant peas, marrowfat peas, things like that, we will provide seed on a seed recovery basis to help you get into production. And then, purchase the rest of the crop as well. So we can do that. That's something we do on an individual basis. So, give me a call and we'll work out the details. I know I'm working with a couple of guys right now doing that with our 4010 forage peas, which is a huge part of our market, as well as with radish, trying to get a few more growers in the province on that, daikon radish. Dockage allowance in terms, what we do, because it's organic and of course, as everybody knows, but we're also certified to the highest food safe certification that you can get. So we have a lot of hoops to jump through and stuff like that. So, but our general terms that we sell on are 99.9% purity is what we shoot for. I know that's not always possible with the smaller seeds, but then it depends on what else might be in that smaller seed. We of course have to clear our, all the pathogen testing, all the quality testing again. There's paperwork that needs to be on file and things like that. And then our terms are, after all that clears and we have all the paperwork in place and everything, then we pay on the contract or the purchase order, as the case may be. We generally look after the trucking for people that are selling to us from the cleaner. We buy on a clean basis. Any price that we're quoting you is a cleaned price. We pick up at the cleaner. If your cleaner is, if you don't have a cleaner close to you and we end up using somebody here close to us, we can work with you a bit on that freight to get it to the cleaner as well. But that again is a case by case business, case by case scenario. The question about handling less than full truckloads. Yes, absolutely. We have in the past, bought as little as a 1 metric ton, of some of these more unusual crops or whatever. Or if you've got 2 or 3 ton of something that you had intercropped and cleaned out, we'll look at that. If we have no minimum, I guess is what I'm trying to say. Our maximums, of course, we do have 2 bins. Right now we're using for wheat, or 1 for wheat, 1 for forage peas. Forage peas is something we would have no max on. We can bring those into the building if by the super bee if needed. Yeah, I don't know what else to say. Our expectations or predictions for markets this year, I think it's looking pretty good. Fair bit of moisture, at least where we are. I'm hoping everybody has a good growing season, and if there's any questions or anything, I can maybe help you out with that now.
Thanks, Carolyn.
No problem.
Anybody has any questions? I'm not seeing any on the chat currently.
Yeah, well, if anybody has, anything afterwards as well, just, throw me an email or call me. I will be in the office tomorrow. I can obviously look at my emails from here as well, and look forward to any questions or any contacts that we can make here.
Thank you very much.
No problem.
Next company to join us is Roquette, and here to tell you about them is Brigitte Tully. Thanks for being here, and over to you, Brigitte.
Thank you. I just see one question here in the chat. It asked, are you still looking for 40/10? So I'm not sure if you want to answer that there, Caroline.
Yeah, absolutely we are. That is, the more of those that we can manage to get. Absolutely. Anybody wanting to give me a call or, just send your sample in with all your information on it, that would be great. Yeah, definitely. And green peas right now, looking for those. We've secured some markets that are taking it out by the container load, by the truckloads. So if anybody has some that they're looking to move, absolutely. And right now we're paying $28 a bushel cleaned.
Okay, thank you. Yeah, good morning, everybody. My name is Brigitte Tully. I'm one of the grain buyers here at Roquette. A little bit about myself. I have a background working in the canola crush business with Cargill. So I sold meal domestically, internationally. I traded grain futures, foreign exchange, did a whole bunch of the office stuff. And then I got married to a farmer. So I got married to an organic grain farmer outside of Portage la Prairie in Manitoba. And so we had to do a little bit of a career change because I didn't want to drive into Winnipeg every day. So now I work for Roquette, which is a pea processing plant in Portage la Prairie, a lot of peas, and very close to our farm. So it just worked out really well. About Roquette as a whole, they're a very large company. They are family owned, started in the 1930s. They have a hand in a lot of different pies, anything from pharmaceuticals to organic and conventional pea proteins, starches, cellulose. They do corn. So globally, they're huge. But as for the Canadian portion, it's exclusively yellow peas. So we buy conventional and, of course, organic yellow peas that we bring into the facility at Portage la Prairie. And we, I guess you could call them, grind them, crush them, or fractionate them for the protein and the starch. And that is what we sell as our sort of end use human food ingredient. So yeah, as I said, the crops that we typically purchase are exclusively at this time yellow peas. So not green, not the forage, not anything else. We could consider that a bit of a niche crop within the organic space, but in Manitoba and Saskatchewan, and of course, Northern Alberta, they do seem to grow quite prolifically there, which is wonderful. Our current crop needs are pretty small. We did have a contract open about 3 months ago in January for about a new crop time period, which was the January, February 2024 time period. So everything that we buy is typically a year in advance on the organic side. We don't almost ever buy spot, mostly because we have to match our purchases of the peas with the sales of the protein. So we have to balance pretty closely. There's no grain futures for peas, so you have to hedge yourself with your sales. The new crop contract that we did have available at the time, and which we will again in probably a couple of months, it was everything picked up on farm. So the truckload capacity is only for full truckload, 43 metric ton super bees, because we're picking it up. Our contract details, I just pulled them up here, so I'll grab that again. Our contract details are pretty strict because they're going into food ingredients, and our end use customers are very strict on what we can and can't have, even within the organic sphere. So, we had a 14.5% moisture maximum. There is a 0 soybean at any time in the grain clause as well. And that's because the byproduct that we make is considered soy-free. We also have a pretty strict one for cereals. So it was 1% max cereals. That's your gluten grains, your wheat, your rye, your barley, because again, the byproduct afterwards is considered gluten-free. We had a 5% dockage limit. Splits are fully paid up to 5%, but they cannot exceed 10%. So your first 5% is paid full price as if they were regular peas. Your second 5% is considered dockage. And then after that, we can't accept the sample. It doesn't clean properly in our facility. Obviously, going into human food, there can't be mold, excessive dirt. We don't require that you clean them ahead of time, but obviously if it's been a dirty year, we would recommend cleaning. The terms, contract terms and movement. So those are some of our terms. We do have some variety preferences as well. So it's not that we have a specific variety that we're looking for. It's that we have a couple that we don't like. So our list of preferred varieties is very long. Our list of undesired varieties is very short. That would be a Chrome, a Carver, and an Amarillo. And for a variety of different reasons, they don't work very well in our fractionation process, just the way the plant was built. As for price indications, so we were offering for the Manitoba area about $20 a bushel picked up on farm. Saskatchewan and Alberta, everything is backed off with freight because we pick up everything ourselves. So indications for the Saskatchewan area would have been around $19 a bushel picked up, and Alberta, depending on the location, because the further north you go, the more expensive it was, but generally somewhere between your $17 and $18 a bushel picked up. We went through dockage, allowance, and terms. We are exclusively in charge of the freight. So as much as we would love to have other people bring in product, it's a food safety requirement that Roquette has, that we are in control of all freight that comes in. So we know the previous load, we have a trusted carrier, and it just keeps us good on the liability side for our sales team. Which means we're not really usually able to handle less than full truckloads. Occasionally, if we were short product, if it was a terrible year, which I'm hoping it won't be this year, and it wasn't last year, but if it was, we would be willing to pick up less then, but it would probably be built into the cost as well, or the price rather that we offer as well. The insurance and protections that we provide, so we do have a 20 bushel an acre active God. You are not limited to selling us 20. If you choose to do a contract with us, you could sell 10 bushels an acre equivalent. You could sell 40 bushels an acre equivalent, but we are just covering an active God on the first 20. As for the market expectations and predictions, it's been very interesting to see the market move in the yellow pea industry, whether conventional or organic. Typically, we see the organics price out at about a multiple of 2 to conventional. So conventional is starting to fall as well for a new crop because we're not seeing as many exports out to China. The price isn't good enough for them, and they're going to other countries to purchase those peas. So because of that, we're seeing a price kind of fall down on the organic space as well. And organic yellow peas are typically bought for their protein, and the protein market on the sales side has also slowed down, right? We're in a little bit of a tougher economy than we were 2 years ago. And so the pea protein market has slowed, not come down to be a negative slope, but we have definitely seen a reduced growth in that market. So we can't pay $25, $28 a bushel anymore because we're not getting that on the other side. So we see that as price still continuing to fall as sort of old crop and new crop prices will come to converge. I'm not entirely sure what they're paying for spot right now for the old crop, but I think we'll continue to see new crop fall a little bit here. And of course, things can change, right? Weather could be really bad and we don't have the crop we want and the price will go back up. But under current conditions with an okay crop, we're not expecting the price to hold too firm in that $20 range. We could probably see that slide down to 18 even for the Manitoba area. So that's a little bit about our contract and our product, and I'm happy to take any questions.
If some people are like me, it takes them a long time to type them in, but
That's fair.
I'm not seeing any at the moment here.
No problem. I have my phone's always available. My email's there. And we do have, I will plug one more thing. We do have an app in which all of our prices for conventional and organic are listed. And if you would like to be on the app, I just have to upload you from my side. So you can send me a text or an email with your cell number. That's what you would use to log into it. And I can upload you from my side. You can see live bids. You can actually make offers through the app as well. So if you see something for a time period, but you don't like the price, you can make an offer at a higher price. And if we want that, we'll take it.
Who was the person who was looking for green peas? I don't know.
That
how
was
relates to you.
Carolyn.
Not you guys, I guess. You
Oh.
distinctly said you were looking for yellows.
Yeah, I think that was Mumm sprouting seeds.
Right. Thank you very much. You're really being helpful here, Brigitte, this morning in terms of funneling information here. Many thank you. Alrighty, much appreciated. Now we'll move on to Ben Corrigan with F.W.Cobs. Thanks for being with us today, Ben.
Yeah, thanks for having me. Will, really appreciate you guys putting this on again. 1 second here, just wanted to start the video. Perfect. Again, my name is Ben Horgan. I've been with F.W.Cobs for a little over 5 years now, and work alongside many of you work with Pete Manahan also. He's our other grain buyer. So just want to keep everybody updated on the prices that we are offering right now and what we're looking for, and some things that we're seeing in the marketplace right now. Currently looking for barley, peas. Most of what we buy is feed grade. So also looking for wheat. Screenings as well is another thing that we can't find enough of, as well as barley too. Current pricing, what we're seeing, I'm actually pretty happy with where our Canadian prices are right now, given that the US markets have certainly fallen here over the past 3 to 4 months on corn, soybeans, and some other things as well. Currently for old crop, if you had any barley left over, we'd be looking at somewhere between $10.50 to $11, and that's a delivered price. If you do need a picked up price, give us a call, and can reach out to some of our trusted carriers to give you a picked up price. Peas right now, it's on a case by case basis. So if you do have some, please give us a call and I can give you a price on that. Similar with feed wheat as well. Also rye, we are looking for some a little later in the summer, and depending on when you want to deliver it, will depend on the price. But I did touch on screenings as well. Currently paying $250 a metric ton delivered to our elevator in Warburg. Again, please give us a call if you do want to pick that price, and we can certainly go over that. New crop, things are certainly still holding pretty steady. Looking for barley. Barley is always one of those things that we're certainly looking for and have never been able to find enough. And certainly trying to have a more aggressive new crop bid, knowing that seems like the oat market's a little tied up right now. So certainly trying to find some more acres to go into barley this year. We're anywhere from $9.75 to $10.25 delivered on new crop barley, and that is one of the only new crop prices I have out at this time. Just seems like there's a lot of end users that are kind of standing still here and waiting to see what the market does here over the summer. So kind of in a holding pattern with a lot of our other crops at this time. Want to see also working on an old crop program for peas, if there still are some out there. Hoping to have an updated bid here in the next week or so. What we are seeing, just to give you a little insight on the market, is the import markets seem to be picking up to levels of pre-COVID, which has brought some of the corn prices down in the States. So corn and beans are starting to come in from overseas, and this is typically what we see when the dollar is strong, and the ease of actually being able to get containers again. I've said it on all these grain buyers forums that one thing that the boss and all of us are committed to F.W.Cobs is we only buy from North American producers. So something that you know, we do take very seriously, and we want to take care of the guys that are in our backyard and make sure that we can offer the fairest pricing possible to them. So not a lot of other news on my end, but certainly open to any questions that anybody might have out there.
Any questions? I don't see any currently. Anyone busy typing? All righty. Well,
Thanks, Will.
Thanks very much, Ben. Much appreciated. Good to see you.
So,
All righty. Seeing no questions here, we'll move on to MGM Seeds, and with MGM we have Tracy Bush. Welcome, Tracy.
Thank you so much for having me. And so my name's Tracy Bush. I'm the sales manager for MGM Seed Grain in Saskatoon. I live in Sylvan Lake, Alberta, actually. And I do have an office here in Saskatoon, and I am in Saskatoon this week. I come about once every, well, it used to be every week, but now it's once every month. And I jumped into the origination side a little bit in the last year, just as we had a change in staff and so on. But right now we have 2 grain buyers, and one, his name is Bashir, and the other is Ryan Potts. And Ryan couldn't make it to the call today, and so here I am filling in. So just a little bit of, about the company. MGM Seed Grain, I just made some notes here, so I'm just going to make sure. It was founded in 2016 by a fellow by the name of Ron Blazeko. What we are is we are a conventional and organic gluten-free, certified gluten-free oat mill. And the plant was commissioned in 2018. And we work with a managed supply chain with our growers. So basically we contract acres every year, and you know, you can't have grown any cereal grain on the check your seed and content in our oats, in our finished goods. At this point in time, I would say we're probably running about so in the future, you will see in the future that probably the company name will change. So if you see Bay State Milling, you know it's basically the MGM plant. So each year we contract acres with growers. So if you're interested, so what we have done is we've been offering organic production contracts to our existing client base, our producer base. And then we will be opening up that to new growers if you are interested. So please feel free to give me a call, or you have my contact information. What else? So basically, if you were to sign a contract with us, so I have the list of questions here. So if you were to sign a contract with us, the delivery period would be from September 1st to August 31st. And what we try to do is take a quarter of your production each quarter. So we don't negotiate contracts according to, a very short window delivery period. It's over the crop year. So we only buy oats. Our finished goods all have a validated 5-log kill step. And that's been something that our customers are really happy about. What else? So yes, what are your current crop needs? Well, we are contracting right now, so feel free to contact me if you are interested in contracting oats with, and you could produce the purity protocol and meet our parameters. Spot contracts. We aren't buying spot because everything we buy is from our purity protocol and our identity preserve program. So I've talked about movement, price indications. I have some volume that I filled recently, but I'm looking at moving that down. I might be dropping that a little bit. So you can give me a call on pricing, and we can discuss. Dockage allowance. For dockage, we take actual dockage, and then anything through a 6 VV sieve, we take that as dockage as well. So any thins, because there's just you don't get anything out of them, so it just goes right through the system. So those are also docked as well. Who is responsible for trucking? So we have our own trucks. We do this as part of our purity protocol, and so there's no cross contamination. So we do have our own trucks, and within Saskatchewan, we usually offer an off-farm price, and then we have our trucks go in and pick it up. But if you wanted to do your own trucking, we can discuss that as well. And then insurances and protections. We are currently, we had applied, actually, it's interesting, we applied ages ago with the CGC for our to be bonded and licensed, and that's just going through in the next few months. I don't know, there was obviously some changes there or something like that, and it held up our application for a really long time, not by any fault of our own. And so that's going through in the next couple of months, that will be licensed and bonded with the Canadian Grain Commission. And expectations and predictions from the market this year. Well, I anticipate that we'll see a lot less oat acres go in, just because the price isn't as attractive. And there's a lot of carryover. So that's one of the things. And we're seeing the market really coming down in this nearby. But I think it should level off if we see a lot less oat acres, which it looks like that's going to happen. So, but that's about all I have, and I'm certainly open to any questions.
Tracy, I just have to apologize. My internet cut out a couple of times as the host while you were speaking, and that's why you got interrupted with that recording message, because when it jumped back on, it recorded again.
Yeah, and for someone who gets completely distracted And that's me. You know, and then all of a sudden I turn into a deer in headlights. Yeah, no, I apologize for my distraction there.
Oh, gosh, no,
But,
no. It's just one of those things, these technical glitches always happen, so I apologize.
No worries at all. It happens. So, anyways, yeah, I'm open to any questions, and if you don't have questions here, my contact information is here and you can give me a call.
Tracy, you said that you thought that the oat production is likely to drop. What gives you the indication of that?
Well, just because, you know, I'm finding a lot of our grower, like just in our existing grower base, having conversations with them, they're just saying, you know, it's just not as attractive for them to put oats in the ground. You know, we had last year, you know, people were contracting, you know, in levels almost double what the price is now. And it was very attractive to put oats in the ground at that point. And then we had this bumper crop. And, you know, and the year before, I mean, all of us processors were scrambling to get oats. And so then it went from famine to feast. And it looks like we're going to have a large carryover. And so the price has been coming down and there's not a whole lot of movement on oats right now. You know, in the spot market, I really don't see a whole lot of movement. Everybody seems full. So I don't think it's particularly attractive for growers to put in oats at a lower price. And I saw a question come up, what is the price? I would be, you know, I filled a good portion of my position, but I'm looking for more. I'd probably be in that $8 range on organic at this point for contracting new crop. But I haven't formalized that, but I'm just saying around that.
So even if there's a reduced acreage this year and production, it'll take at least a year to clean that out, I guess you're saying too.
Yeah, I think, well, but there's also a lot of capacity coming on board. There's a lot of, like there's a large oat mill coming up in Manitoba and you know, there's a lot of oat milling capacity coming on board. So it might chew through that carryover very quickly.
Well, even with the milling thing, there still has to be a buyer at the other end too. So
yeah, well, and that's the other thing. It might take a while to get, with the added milling capacity, it might take a while to get that demand going. But you know, we're seeing the oat beverage market has taken off, and that's massive. And so, you know, that is definitely chewing through a lot of the milling capacity at this
perhaps
point.
we're not baking as many oatmeal cookies as we were 2 years ago.
There's still lots of granola bars being made. It's mind-boggling to see. You know, you think that space is saturated, but it's mind-boggling. The oat bars are still, there's more and more being made all the time.
Good. Well, oh, there's a question here. Where's the demand from and why is it so inconsistent?
Inconsistent? The demand, I'm not totally following the question, but the demands, I think it's steadily increasing. But it was just that there was so many oats produced. Well, I could go on and on. You know, when the price of oats went so high, you know, there was a large market for, you know, bird food groats. There was a market for pony oats and so on and so forth, going over into, you know, Japan and that kind of thing. And when the price of oats went so high with the drought, that market really dried up. So we weren't exporting. And then there was a lot of oats that went to Mexico for milling in vessels and so on. But with the price, Mexico wasn't buying from Canada. So, you know, so all those oats stayed within Canada when the price was that high. But, you know, so that would be part of it. But also, don't forget, we had a great harvest last year. You know, we didn't have an early frost, and there was a really good quality crop. And so there wasn't a lot going into the feed market, you know, so there's all those things that came into play in this last year.
Thanks very much, Tracy, for your presentation and answering the questions.
Yeah, no problem. Thank you so much for having me.
Righto. Thank you. Our next panelist is Margot Cassania from Fresh Hemp Foods / Manitoba Harvest, here to tell us more about the hemp market. Welcome, Margot.
Thank you. Can you hear me well?
Yes.
Okay. So like Will said, my name is Margot. I'm the agronomist here at Fresh Hemp Foods. I've been with the company for almost a year now. So a little bit on the start, our focus is on hemp. So we buy both organic and conventional hemp, but majority of our production is organic. We are the largest global hemp processors. So we have 2 manufacturing facilities, both in Manitoba. We have one in Senegath, just south of Winnipeg, and then the other one is in Winnipeg. Our market is mainly North America under a brand name Manitoba Harvest. So under that brand, we have different products like hemp hearts, proteins, hemp seed oils, bars, granola, a couple other products. And we do also sell as ingredients to other companies under the name Hemp Oil Canada. So to start off with the questions on the screen, we only buy hemp, so we buy both organic and conventional. And like I said, the majority of what we buy is organic, and we buy from the prairies and from Quebec. We currently have both organic and conventional contracts available. Now it is getting close to the end of contracting for us, and our organic volumes are looking good for 2023. So if you are interested in growing hemp this year, I would suggest to reach out very shortly so that we can start that discussion right away. For spot contracts, for 2022 production, currently we're not looking for spots at the moment. Now, if you are looking to sell some hemp grain, you do have some available, please reach out so we know that it's out there. And then if there's an opportunity that comes up, we know where to look. Our current price indications. So for our contract price for organic hemp this year is set at $1.79 a pound of clean grain. And on top of that, we do offer storage premiums. So the way that our storage premiums work is that starting January 1st, after harvest, we offer storage premiums per quarter that add up to 2.7 cents a pound, which reflects a 6% interest rate. Our prices are FOB seed cleaning facilities. So the grower is responsible for transportation to the seed cleaner. And then once the grain is clean, we take care of all the transportation costs after that. In terms of dockage allowance and terms, we do buy on a clean seed basis. So the grain needs to be cleaned to our quality specs. So our growers work with their approved seed cleaners to clean to a purity of 99.9%. Now, something new that we introduced to our contracts for 2023 is that we added 2 other grades for grading flexibility for challenging lots. So for those 2 other grades, we clean at purities of 99.8 and 99.7. Now, there is a price difference with those 2 grades, and we do want our growers to aim for category 1, which is the $1.79 price. Are we able to handle less than full loads? Yes, to a certain point. We can be flexible, but we really encourage growers to grow at least a B train worth, which would be 90,000 pounds. Depending on yields, that would be on the minimum, probably somewhere around 50 acres of hemp. And in terms of entrances and protections that we have in place for our producers, we do have some features for that in our contracts. We try to improve our contracts a little bit every year to decrease the risk to our growers. So on our contracts, that includes things like an act of God clause, We also offer early payments with a 75% prepayment once we receive a clean sample. So that's before the grain reaches our facility in Manitoba. To help our growers with cash flow, we can also offer seed financing for our varieties. And then we also pay for the cleaning costs upfront. That's then going to be deducted from the final payment. For this year, we do also have wider quality specs with, like I said, a secondary and third food grade hemp. And internally, we also have the ability to do things like pasteurizations. We also have blending, and we also have multiple processing channels for lots that may not meet the primary fruit specs. I think that answers most of the questions on the screen. If you have any questions, go ahead and you can reach out to me. The contact information is on the screen, and yeah, we can send you a copy of our contracts if you'd like to look at that.
Thank you, Margot. Are there any questions? I had a couple of thoughts. Hemp has obviously been growing, but it's still a relatively minor crop for a lot of people and not found in a lot of organic growers' rotations. Therefore, people are probably not so familiar with growing it. So in terms of growing it, are there varieties? I mean, do you handle seed for farmers, and how do you deal with that? And I guess the agronomic questions in terms of the challenges in terms of growing hemp itself. How do you help with that?
Yeah, for sure. That's a good question. So in terms of seed, we do produce our pedigree seed. So we have a couple of varieties available. One being Finola, which is a shorter variety that's easier for those newer growers. But we are flexible with other varieties too. We just ask that the growers talk to us so that we can talk about it to make sure they process well for us. And in terms of agronomy guidance, we have 2 agronomists on the team. We're available all throughout the year. We send out growing tips. We really want to help the growers as much as possible because we do understand that it's a specialty crop that's a little different than your other major crops.
Can we assume that because now marijuana is now a legalized product, that there's no longer the same requirements for hemp field testing and so forth?
So you do need a license to grow. So you have to apply for a license through Health Canada. Now you only apply once and then you can renew it every couple of years. But the way it works is that after seeding, you do have to enter your acres and your field location on the Health Canada license so that they're aware of where it's grown, because it is still under the Cannabis Act.
Right. Okay.
But we can help with that if needed.
Thank you. Well, seeing no other questions, we'll just thank you for your participation. And good to have you on, Margot.
Hey, thank you.
All righty. Now, next up is Kelly Cornelius from Grain Millers. Thanks for being with us today, Kelly. The floor is yours.
Yeah, thanks, Will. Thanks for having us on behalf of myself here at Grain Millers and all of us here. Thanks to Sask Organics as well for having us again for another round of market updates. So like I said, my name is Kelly Cornelius. I've been with Grain Millers now, I believe, almost for the better part of 5 years. This is coming on my second full season in the procurement office here. So looking forward to another year on this side of things. I know last year and even the year before, almost unprecedented times in the oat world. So we'll see if things normalize a bit here going forward. But yeah, in terms of what we're offering here out of Yorkton, we have 2 oat milling facilities here. We handle both conventional, organic, gluten-free, and as well in Saskatoon, we have a flax facility there. So if you're looking to handle anything in flax, I could get you a gentleman's number up there. His name's Bryce Cole. He handles all our procurement out of our Saskatoon office. So just reach out to me there. In terms of what we're seeing right now in terms of our needs, I just spoke with Bryce here this morning. I don't believe they have any bids posted. Much the same on our end here. We have most of our needs covered off. Had a small delivery window there for May. We picked up some bushels there. That filled up relatively quickly. I think, like Tracy had mentioned earlier, you know, we're seeing record carry out, lots of votes left uncontracted. So That's obviously depressed prices a little bit. If we do price anything going forward here, probably looking in that, mid $7 to $8 range. Still trying to see where the market shakes out. Obviously, with the conditions being what they are, a record carryout stats can report today looking like oat acres are going down 22.5%. We'll likely see the market kind of trend sideways here until we get some growing condition updates. In terms of what kind of varieties, we'd be looking at, Arborg, Camden, Summit, ORE, 3542M, all being recommended basically throughout all of the growing regions. We got Congsor or Avena that are, organic varieties that were specifically bred for organic agronomy. As well, we're seeing some new varieties come on board like Douglas, Endure, Calio. So I know that in terms of our recommended and approved varieties, that we're pretty open that way to what we take. And if you have any questions that way at all, we do have a crop specialist on staff here. You can either reach out to myself, Scott, Laura. She is now on maternity leave, so I asked that you kind of reach out to one of us and have us go ahead with those questions. In terms of what we're probably seeing for dockage and acceptable specs that way, much the same there across the board. Dockage, standard dockage, moisture, we recommend anything 13 and 5 and under. We'll accept up to 14. Test weight 40 pounds and up. Thins, preferably under 10%, we'll take up to 14. Last year, we're seeing really good quality, so we weren't running into much issues that way. Previous year, obviously, the specs had to be extended a little bit just with the lack of rainfall, but exceptional quality this year, so really good to see. But obviously has resulted, like I said, with the price decrease there. In terms of delivery, we're open that way. If producers want to deliver themselves, they're certainly more than welcome to. We do have trucking and freight carriers that work with us almost exclusively there. So if you need a picked up price, like I said, just reach out to myself or Scott. We can give you what the picked up price would be in your yard. We're licensed and bonded by the CGC. And what else am I kind of looking at here? Lots of work being done here on site. I know right now we just have moved our office over a little bit. We're getting a more permanent solution here. Lots of expansion going on in both of our mills. Obviously, we took on a lot more storage capability here, so lots of really exciting things happening at Gray Millers, both now and in the coming months. So really looking forward to the year. And yeah, if anyone has any questions, like I said, just reach out to myself or Scott. From time to time, we do handle some organic wheat, barley, and rye bids south of the border. So there's always that possibility. Like I said, just reach out to us there. It is kind of sporadic when we learn about those bids, and we'll go after them. So just reach out to us whenever you feel the need.
And Kelly, there's a comment here about a drop in acres across the country here in the last couple of years, and whether that's of any concern to buyers.
I would say at this point, Will, with the carryout that's being recorded, I don't think it's of major concern right now. My concern with folks is that, as we head into the season and in terms of their storage capability and what they're hoping to get out of the crop they have in the bin, I just want to make sure that they're not going to be tying themselves in a bit of a spot come fall with last year's crop in the bin, and then looking ahead and having to make a last minute marketing decision that way. So if you do want to go ahead with marketing your grain, I don't think it's a bad idea at this point, even with prices being what they are. With the carryout, obviously, you know, I've heard numbers as high as potentially a 50% drop in acres. It could be slightly concerning if we run into a mediocre subpar year. I mean, that's obviously going to decrease carryout at the end of the year, which in turn will drive prices up undoubtedly. I think it'll take some time for significant price movement that way, but I would say at this point we're sitting at a comfortable level, but seen a lot of volatility in oats over the past couple of years. So we would like that to normalize a little bit here and hopefully reach a happy medium in terms of price and supply.
Ben had mentioned earlier in his presentation in the webinar about you know, the fact that, and it was mentioned of the high prices perhaps drawing things from overseas, and I wonder what impact you're seeing in reference to products being brought from offshore.
It's always a potential. I mean, we typically tend to buy, you know, direct from farmers here, you know, all within a very close radius here to Yorkton. Obviously, I think with the year last year, we were looking at opportunities to have to bring in that. That was just, you know, a product of the crop failure being so widespread. However, we do prefer obviously to, you know, source all of our oats as close to home as possible, and that's always our first option. So you know, we're hearing of a good crop in the European market, but most of that stays home there. So I'm not sure if we're going to see any oats head that way this year.
Alrighty, well, I don't see any other questions, so I guess I'll. Okay, there's some comments, but not questions as such. Yeah, thanks very much, Kelly.
Yes.
Much appreciated.
Thank you, Will. Yeah, thank you.
Next up, we have Sunrise Foods, and with Sunrise, we have Wade Harris. Thanks for joining us today, Wade.
Hi, Will. Thank you to Sask Organics, Deb, Will, and for everybody that was able to join us today. So starting off, myself, I've been with Sunrise coming up on 15 years now. It'll be 15 years in July. So started in 2008. The company itself started in 1997 by Glenn and Ann Neufeld. Glenn has since retired, and Jake, his son, is our current CEO and running the company. So lots of changes over the years and a ton of growth. So as I say, I've been there 15 years. Also, Derek Simsick, who is our quality specialist, is actually coming up on his 15th anniversary on Monday. A lot of you are probably familiar with Derek, long-term employee. So if you happen to be talking to him, yeah, he's coming up on his 15th as well. So what crops do we typically purchase? We do buy pretty much everything organic. We do not get into hemp. Obviously, the hemp buyers specialize in that, and then we don't get into Corzan, Kamut, that kind of thing. Current crop needs, we are pretty much covered on most things right now. We still do have a need for some hard red spring wheat. So right now we'd be looking $23 on the farm. That would be for probably a May, June delivery, and that's based on a 13% protein. Feed wheat we could always use. There isn't much out there, and I don't anticipate we'll find much at this point. Feed barley, we do have some needs for feed barley. You're looking probably in that $10 to $10.50 or $10.50, and that's picked up at the farm. That's pretty much all we're looking for in old crop at the moment. Things can change at any time. New crop, right now we are offering a new crop oat contract at $7 a bushel. And that is picked up at the farm for September to December delivery. New crop wheat, the prices, as everybody has mentioned, everything has softened a little bit. For us to make hard red work at the moment anyway, we would be looking probably $18 picked up at the farm for September to December delivery as well. We could use some more flax acres. Right now, flax, we're looking probably $45 at the farm, and that would be a September to say January, February movement. Feed barley, nothing solidified yet, but we're probably going to be looking in around that $9 range. And again, all our prices are picked up at the farm. Yellow peas indications, again, yellow peas have been covered very well by Roquette and what that market is doing. So right now we're thinking the market's going to be in around that $18 picked up at the farm, but nothing change and have for some more French indication company would charge us for it. So, are you able to handle less than full truckloads? We do try and help out if you have partial loads. It does become a little more time consuming and a little slower to move. But generally, if you let us know you've got a partial load, we kind of keep a list of partial loads. And at some point, we hopefully can put something together that makes sense with somebody near you that we could help you clean it up. So as far as insurances, we are licensed and bonded by the Canadian Grain Commission. As far as expectations, predictions for market this year, as most people have been saying right now, a lot of uncertainty in the market. Definitely a little quieter. We're generally booking a lot more acres this time of year, but a lot of the buyers in the US are a little uncertain on what the market's going to do. And of course, when you get your end users start to see the price come down, they kind of want to see where it's going to settle out. I do hope, but there is definitely a loss in organic acres. Generally, the people that stick with organic tend to benefit, a year or two down the road when things start to bounce back. The people that we've lost a lot of times came in when prices were high, expecting prices to stay high. And when they start to drop, then they get back out. So as I say, the people that generally stick with it tend to benefit in the long term. So hopefully the people we have on are the people that are the long-term organic and sticking with it. And hopefully we can all work together, get prices back up. But as of right now, everything is definitely softened a little bit. So. Any questions?
Are there any questions? No. Let's see. Yeah, sorry about the internet again here. Deb's having issues. Usually it's me, but but Deb's had those issues today, not me. So
sure. One last thing, Will, sorry, I just forgot to mention that I had an inquiry this morning. We are going to be looking for some hard white wheat acres. I haven't got the pricing together on that yet, but it will be a bit of a premium over hard red. So if anybody's interested in hard white wheat acres, give us a call. Hopefully we'll have some pricing even by this afternoon that we can give you. So.
Thank you. You guys do, sell a variety of products. Just for curiosity's sake, can you name off some of the variety of things that you handled over the years in terms of small kind of niche kind of things?
Niche markets, there's not a lot anymore. We used to do, some of the ancient grains like a red fife. A lot of people that are growing red fife now are having a lot more success on smaller scales. So they're delivering to a local bakery or some bakeries in their area, or even selling it to local people that are making their own bread. Just the quantity that's generally traded in some of those niche markets are just so small. And there just isn't a premium lot on some of that stuff right now. So red lentils is something that is a small market. We do a little bit in it, but that's one that I always say, if you're going to do red lentils, I would try and have a contract for it, because it is something that if you grow it, you can end up sitting on it. So that used to be a little larger market, but the last few years has been a little quieter, and there are a lot of people sitting on reds that unfortunately couldn't find a home for them. So
What about other pulses like soybeans, chickpeas, and that sort of stuff?
we do soybeans. There are some producers in Manitoba that grow soybeans. Most of what we're doing is for feed. So they're going into a US feed market. We don't do much as far as food grade beans. The chickpea market is starting to grow a little bit. We're hoping even this time next year, we'll maybe be able to offer some contracts and do some forward contracting on acres. The hummus market is actually getting quite strong, so we're starting to see a little more interest there. So we're hoping that's something that we can grow as well.
What about things like mustard and camelina and that sort of thing?
Mustard, we do have a lot of mustard acres bought this year. So it is a larger market for us and seems to be growing all the time. The mustard market got quite crazy here the last couple of years. There was such a shortage, especially on the conventional side of things. So the conventional price kind of went through the roof, and then the premiums that we're normally used to for organic on most commodities, but the mustard especially, it was getting close to where it was trading on par. We were getting some calls from conventional mustard buyers that were so short that they were entertaining organic and paying the premium for organic. So as I say, because of the price, there are a lot of acres going in. We are bought up. So if you're thinking of growing it, again, I would try and find a contract, just because there is a lot contracted already, and it might be something that everybody's growing that you might end up sitting on. So.
Good. Well, I don't see any additional questions here. So thank you very much. Thank you very much, Wade.
Right.
With your participation. I thank you.
Great. Thank you.
Participated to this point. Now, the next sponsor, but not presenter, is Prairie Heritage Seeds. We are thankful for their sponsorship, but they chose not to send anybody today. They did provide some information and you're welcome to us on the slide there, and you're welcome to contact them for detailed information on what they're handling at this moment. So this concludes the webinar for today. But before we go, we want to go through a few remarks. Once again, we thank the panelists for taking the time to speak to us and for the sponsorship of the companies on this webinar. The save the date. Well, there's an organic and low input field day at Swift current research taking place on the 27th of July this summer. Nice to have field days back. More info will be added to the website for this and other events. There may be some other field days that are in the process of planning now. So keep tuned to the digital newsletter and the website. And for information from the past, other webinars and so forth, there's a good stock of information from a number of years now, since we started doing webinars back so many years ago in 2020, forced by the COVID pandemic. So you're welcome to check them out. Some of them are minimal costs, and many of them are free. So we'll thank you for attending. We thank all the presenters. Thank you for attending, and we'll bring this webinar to a close. We wish you a great seeding season and hope to see you at a future event. Thank you very much.